Temple 25, Shinshoji, is also known as Tsudera, or Harbor Temple, because as you can see, it's right down by the harbor. And in fact, the temple song refers to a ferry coming here. I suppose it was coming from close to Temple 24. And the song goes, "Is the ferry boat going out or coming in to Harbor Temple? Pick up my wandering body and put me on board, I beg." The Honzon of Temple 25 is Jizo Bosatsu. This particular one is known as Kajitori Bosatsu, and there are actually two different origin stories for that name. The main one is spelling it or using the Chinese characters for Kajitori that means steering Jizo, as in steering a ship. And the story that goes with it is this. In the autumn of 1602, the lord of the local domain was caught in a storm, or perhaps fog, I've read it both ways, was caught in either a storm or fog off the coast of Muroto, the town and the cape here. Suddenly, a priest appeared out of nowhere, and he stepped over to the helm of the ship and took the helm and brought it safely into port. But when the Lord looked around, he discovered that the priest had disappeared. He went to the temple, Tsudera, Port Temple, to look for the priest and saw that the principal image of Jizo Bosatsu was soaking wet. And so the conclusion obviously was that the image of Jizo had been the priest on the ship. Since then, the principal image has been called Kajitori Jizo. This spiritual experience is written about in a book called The Old History of the Southern Route. But according to a more famous book, the Konjaku Monogatari, famous collection of old stories, at one time the Hondo, the main hall, caught fire, and the principal image, who had transformed himself into a monk to save the ship, ran around and gathered the villagers together, telling them to put out the fire. And afterwards, when the fire had been put out, they scraped charred embers, charcoal, off the beams of the hall where it had just been charred slightly, and took that to their homes as protection against fire. Because Kajitori can also mean fire removing, depending on which Chinese characters you use for it. So Kajitori Jizo, steering Jizo, or fire removing Jizo, is the Honzon, the main image of the temple.